Sorry. Sorted, yeah. Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2014 AGM for Beoir. Thank you everybody for coming. We have about 25 of us here, I think, or thereabouts. I suppose I'm going to keep this short because we actually do have a lot to get through. There's precious drinking time. Just a big thank you for everybody for coming down and for helping to make Beoir a big success over the last few years. I think we've gone from strength to strength, starting off around about 100-ish members, and we're up to nearly about 400 now. So that's it's a great achievement, and I think we're also getting a lot of good publicity in the press recently. People are starting to take our views seriously, and more importantly, they're starting to make us to realise that we're a proper consumer group representing the general Joe Soap, the general beer consumer, and we have their interests in mind. I think we recently had an article in the Sunday Business Post, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was about our pre-budget submission, basically. To cut it down to a nutshell, it's what we asked for was simply a sunset clause in the up and coming minimum pricing, so that after a set period, maybe 3-4 years, I'm not really sure what we're looking for exactly, but maybe 3 or 4 years, if nothing changes, if everything is as is, and that it just doesn't stay as part of the statutes, that we revisit it, get rid of the minimum pricing, and try to deal with it in a real way, in a way that makes sense, and that is not by in any way, shape, or form trying to price alcohol out of existence, basically, which is what the government seems to be trying to do. We're also hoping that breweries will be allowed to sell reasonable amounts of beer on their own premises, rather than the archaic law that we currently have, which is something like 19 litres is the equivalent that minimum that they have to be able to sell. So it'd be great to go on a brewery tour and be able to just support that brewery and order a pint of beer, and for them not to have to worry about archaic licensing laws. So that was another thing that we wanted. So that's kind of really it in the pre-budget submission. There was one other item which completely escaped me right now. Do you remember?
It may have been farmers markets.
Yeah. Oh no, it was cider. We wanted cider to have the same protection as the microbreweries, so that the cider producer has the same sort of 50% rebate every quarter that a microbrewery has. That was the other part. So I mean, that's kind of it. We're just kind of going to move on to the minutes of the 2013 AGM, I suppose, and and if anybody has any questions at any point, just raise your hand.
The minutes of the 2013 AGM have been circulated. More or less everything that's covered in them is back on the agenda for today, so unless anyone has any objections or issues that they would like to raise on the subject of the last minutes, in 3, 2. As always with the AGM, we don't actually take any decisions or do anything particularly important here. It's really just to have a day out and drink a few pints. So if you do have any serious burning issues, if there's anything that you want to say, really the best place to do it is on the forum. That's where everyone will see it. That's where all of the decisions get made. So if you have an idea of something that's forming in the back of your head, you don't know whether you should say it to this meeting, it's fine. You can email either of us or any of us, or just bring it to the forum. That's probably the best way to do business. So this is really just about a review of the year's activities and drinking of pints, preferably at brewer's expense. I won't minute that. So, should we move on?
Yeah, financial statement.
Okay, yeah, so the financial statement has also been circulated. You should have that around. As Ruben says, we've gone from strength to strength. It was another record year for membership. We are 84% up on last year at the end of last year, we were 84% up in membership numbers compared to the previous year. We have already, I think we finished out, somebody do the math there, was about 380 something members at the end of last year. At the end of the first month of this year, which is what we're coming up to now, we're already on 210, of which I think about 50 or 60 are brand new members. So that's definitely going up. I don't think we'll have any trouble hitting the 400 member mark this year. The question is whether we make it to the 400 mark before or after Christmas, because that will affect how many vouchers we have to buy. The financial statements shows that we certainly spent a lot more money than we did in any other previous year, but we also earned quite a bit. There was a large bonanza from the RDS festival. We came out of that very well, and thanks to the organisers of the festival for supplying us with crisps, which we sold on at a handsome infinity % profit. I put €200 of the advertising money that we've been collecting for the forthcoming magazine. Possibly that should have gone into next year's figures, because we'll be paying for the magazine out of that advertising money. But just for accounting purposes, I thought it was easier just to throw it in there. The money that we make on the books and the t-shirts, that's presented net, so it includes the PayPal fees are already removed, just again for ease of accounting. So I just put the membership money, the amount the PayPal charges us for that. There'll be a small amount extra the PayPal charges for selling t-shirts and books through the website. Our expenditure on vouchers is probably a little bit high, because it's effectively 2 years worth in there. We bought, when we got the agreement with Galway Bay Brewery, we bought the vouchers for last year, and then we ran out before the year finished, so we had to buy more or less most of the vouchers for this year are included on that statement. It's extremely low. We bought enough for about 400 members, and I would say we will pass that. So we will be buying probably another batch of vouchers this year, but it will only be one, so it'll be roughly half of what's down there. And yeah, the outlook is good. We have 46 brand new members this year so far. That might be 48 since I wrote these notes. We've recently changed the membership rules. So we no longer have the discount membership for members who joined in the first half of the year, and that will mean that we'll be able to actively recruit all year round. We give a better deal to the members, because when you sign up, you're a member for that full calendar year. Your membership doesn't expire on the 30th of June. I think things are good generally all around financially. So I will commend the financial statement to the meeting. If anyone has any questions, they can ask now or come to me at any point.
Just to let everybody know, the beers at the bar if you want to come and pick them up.
Oh, okay. Shall we take a break at this point then?
Yeah.
Pretty arduous. Should we not take this form for a vote, though? All right, I'm just going to pass over to Andrew for an update on the state of public relations over the last year. Okay?
Thanks, Ruben. The PR job it's been getting a bit more challenging, mainly because people are starting to pay attention to us. Precisely. The last year, actually, I think was the first year where I've actually actively had people in the media contact me looking for a statement on something. On top of that, we've had some really good write-ups in the Sunday Times. We've been in the Saturday Business Post. We've been in Hot Press. So, we're finally, I think we're getting out there. Finally, I think we're becoming visible. We're not 100% there yet. We're still seeing stories in the Evening Herald where, you could tell the journalist could have really used a quote from a spokesman in the industry, but no, didn't contact us. So, much done, but much more to do. What else do I need to tell you? Yes, over the last year we had two things that really piqued the interest in Beoir, and we should really look to capitalise on it in the future. Number one was our own collab brew with Sam, Beoir number 1. When that went out, Twitter went wild, Facebook went wild. For, I would say, 3 months, we got a massive amount of social media, all talking about this beer, all wanted to know where they could get it. Vanguard came in on the back of that. Vanguard basically were distributing our beer for us, and they were tweeting the places that it was going into. And there was a lot of positive feedback then from the people who were going to those places, who was trying the beer. So that really, for a PR point of view, that was quite a phenomenal success. I would sort of say on the back of that going forward, and we're going to do more collab brews in the future. Let's see if we can keep the word Beoir in the name of the beer, because it gets us out there, it gets us in front of people. The second thing that spiked the social media was John's A to Z of Irish breweries. I think finally we had a definitive list of all the people who are brewing in Ireland and what their affiliations are, and more importantly, who were the people that we as Beoir considered Irish craft brewers. Again, generated a lot of media, of social media interest. Again, good spiking. Maybe we can look at capitalizing on it, do a relaunch, or do something that we say, okay, right, here's the list, 2.0, and it's something I'm actually going to pass on to my successor, Ian Bergen, now, and so it's something that that he can possibly do in the future. Finally, maybe talk about Beoirfinder, the app. We're currently at 6,000 active users. It's kind of plateaued out, not really getting any more major downloads, but I've got a few ideas. One of them is to sort of approach Board Beer and see if there's any sponsorship or advertising money that they might want to throw at us. I'm kind of thinking at coming at them from the point of view that we're looking to encourage beer tourism in Ireland, and that the app could be a very handy tool for people coming over to Ireland to help them find the breweries and places they want to visit. So that's about it for me. I suppose you all know I've stepped down this year. The main reason why I did that is, I was getting to the two things. I'm getting very time poor, the economy's going back up, I'm getting really busy, and I can't put the effort into the job that the job needs. And the second thing was, I got to a point where I kind of decided myself that this job needs a fresh pair of eyes. There was things that weren't happening, and I couldn't understand why things weren't progressing. So I thought, when Ian basically said that he wanted to take over, I said, yeah, time for the role to get a fresh pair of eyes, get some fresh ideas, get a new impetus, and hopefully Ian will do us proud and drive us forward. But in the meantime, I enjoyed doing the job while I did it, so thanks everybody.
I think, as everybody knows, last year I set up a regional representative program to kind of devolve the government, as it were. Basically, we all lived in Dublin, all of the officers, and I thought we should probably kind of get people more active in various different regions of the country. We only have one regional rep with us here today, unfortunately, Derek. I think, Derek, you want to give us a few words? No?
No.
You sure?
Wrong Derek.
Other Derek.
Oh, wrong Derek. Oh, the other Derek. Okay. Right. Okay, so...
I got railroaded.
Yeah.
My name is Derek Sheridan, not that Derek. I'm Lou Longhand on the site, and I am the rep for the South East. So I'd like to give you a quick rundown. First of all, actually, I'd like to welcome you to what was the sunny South East until you arrived. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on what's happening here in the South East. We were having monthly meetings, but recently, over the last 6 months, they've been reduced to bi-monthly meetings due to several factors. First of all, the poor public transport in the South East. And in the second place, the decimation of our active members due to headhunting by the pros. We've had Shane Shane Murphy, mostly known as Spud 395, who has been appointed head brewer at Rising Suns in Cork. And Kieran Bird, in the last few weeks, has been appointed the brewer at Arthurstown Brewery, which I believe is just a working name at the moment. But the upside is I have good contacts with those breweries. So, like the other reps, I'm sure, I have been handing out my card to people in the trade, but today they've only had 3 contacts back. 2 were inquiries about the directory and how they would get beers into the directory, and the other one was an invite to pop in for a chat. I think Colin will attest to that didn't go very well. Basically, I called into the pub and I gave them some recommendations and they more or less ignored them. Slowly but surely over the last 8 or 9 months they've been sort of bringing stuff in like a beer menu and things like that. You know, it's been very slow. I don't think they have an awful lot of interest in craft beer. There's also a beer festival as part of the Waterford Harvest Festival. Last year it was franchised. It was run as a bar rather than, you know, sort of a beer festival. It was very successful. It was very well run, very professional, but there was no really chance to get involved. The previous year at the Harvest Festival, I'd given a couple of talks on Beoir in particular, and craft beer in general, but Beoir in particular. This year I've been talking to Waterford City Centre Business Group, who are hoping to be more involved in the running of bar stroke beer festival this year. And I've had some talks with them about input into some craft beer related events when it is on. So as far as brewing goes at the moment, Wexford is where it's all happening. There are 5 breweries in various stages of planning in Wexford at the moment. There's Blackstairs, Blackwater, Arthurstown, a brewery I can't get a name for, but Malcolm Malloy is the man. He's supposedly sourced the brewery and it's ready to be built just on the outskirts of Wexford town. And there's a new brew pub in Wexford called Simon Lambert and Sons. So I've had contact with Kieran, spoke to him on the phone this morning from Arthurstown. He had a meeting yesterday with the backers of the brewery. So I asked him what kind of information could he give me. It's really in the very early stages of planning yet. Kevin Dundon, the famous chef, is sort of a front firm. As I said, Arthur's, he couldn't give me a name. He said it because their patent is pending. But at the moment, he just called it the Arthurstown Brewery. He said they want to keep Arthur somewhere in the name, but they're worried that it might flash out.
Arthurstown.
I've also been in contact in the last few days with Danny Trapp, who will be the brewer for Lambert and Sons, the brew pub in Wexford. So Danny tells me they're just finished installing a wooden barrel pilot brewery in the cellar of the pub. They're on course for brewing, pending, I think, planning permission, just waiting for planning permission to be granted. And they're planning to brew in mid-August and have beer on the bar mid-September. He told me that they'll be starting with an American Pale Ale, a German-style Kolsch, and a strawberry blonde made using real Wexford strawberries. So they're hoping to brew about 350 litres a week there. Upscaling to 300 litre brew house early in 2015, double brewing it into 600 litre fermenters, which he reckons due to space constraints will be their maximum capacity. At the moment they're also keeping their name secret, pending a patent, but I'm hoping to get the scoop on that later or in the next couple of weeks. Right, so yeah, I've covered Kieran. So my plan for the coming year is to establish more regular meetups, possibly less brewing related and more beer related, beer tasting sort of things, and maybe get some people in to talk. To establish good links with the new breweries coming up and strengthen the ties to the established breweries in the southeast, starting with Costello's this evening. And right, that's it. Thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of your visit to the southeast.
Thanks, Derek.
We're just going to have a quick campaign update on how things progressed over the last year. And John's got up there most of this.
Yeah, this is the bit where we all gather around and figure out, well, what did we actually do for the last 12 months? How have we furthered the cause of Irish craft beer? So it's quite a thin page, but the big thing last year were the Galway Bay vouchers. So now every member gets their membership fee back immediately in vouchers for the Galway Bay Brewery. We have various other arrangements that we've put in place with various other partners around the country. So there's generally an easy way of getting your tenner back. There's a reason to be a Beoir member, and certainly members in Galway and Dublin have that immediate incentive. And the one thing that keeps coming back to me from talking to the Galway Bay management is that people don't use them. So please, if you're holding them, the purple ones are good until the end of this year, the orange ones until summer of next year. Please use them. If you know anyone in Galway who's holding them, please tell them to use them. The Galway pubs, it seems to be where we get the most stories back of the staff not knowing what these things are. There's generally no problem about going to the management, and we've had one situation where Jason has broadcast to all of the managers saying that they have to be accepted for a full measure of every Galway Bay beer on draft.
Which includes a Foam and Fury, which
And
isn't given in a pint, but a full measure is a full measure of that. So.
And it includes the cask beers as well. It seems that some of the staff will look for any excuse not to take them, but they're there. And the main thing is, I think, that people use them, get through your vouchers as quickly as you possibly can. The other really big thing that we did was Beoir number 1. As Andrew said, that was a huge publicity thing for us, which was really good. And thanks to Brian and to everyone who did. Ribbon, you did a video on it as well, so we had lots of media around it, and I thought it worked very well. Definitely, I saw huge amounts of buzz about the beer, and people interested in buying it on draft, and then lots of people wondering where they can get it on bottles. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that we were able to say, well, you can't, you have to be there. But hopefully we'll have another collaboration brew coming very
Your
soon.
number 2 is, in fact, coming soon.
Yes. We had another very successful participation at the RDS Festival. I don't think there's any doubt about us continuing as volunteers at that festival and doing everything we can to make it as an enjoyable experience as possible for not only our members but the wider craft beer community, both in terms of the publicity around it and the running the event itself. We also had the run-up to it, which was Irish Craft Beer Week. Is that happening again this year? It is happening again this year. So we staged an event in Farrington's as it was then. We had more presenters than we had audience, but it was a start and it was good fun and everyone had a laugh. I definitely encourage anyone who has any ideas about Irish Craft Beer Week.
It turned out our largest audience of that were people who didn't even know it was on. They just happened to walk upstairs, sit down, discovered there was beer tasting going on and a history talk on beer. So,
captive audience with nets where possible. That definitely we're doing that again. We will be at the RDS this year, and we certainly from our members we've had more interest in people doing stuff at it. It's good fun. It's the centerpiece of the Irish craft beer calendar, so it's great to be there. We established a partnership of sorts, an informal partnership with the Vanguard Beer Collective, who are doing something that we have long wanted to see, which is providing independent Irish craft beer to any pub that wants it, more or less, as long as they're not too far out of their route. Which kind of goes, which they tell me runs on a T, so it's the East Coast and then it's across the middle of the country. But I'm sure they will expand, and it's a great idea. It's great to see it. Certainly great to see all of the Vanguard affiliate breweries showing up on tap in places where you would never expect to see them. And definitely, we had a meeting with representatives of the collective, and we kind of set out our stall and said, well, look, Irish beer is very complicated. We have our rules on what counts as craft and what doesn't. There may come a time where your business interest and our campaign interest diverges, but as long as we keep up communications, we'll know when that is, and we'll make those decisions when we come to it. But at the moment, we're very happy. We're watching them. We are very happy with what they've been doing. I think they've been happy with what we've been doing. They're getting our name out there as well in a lot of their posters and publicity materials and so on. So I think it's working. It seems to work. The interest is mutual, so we're going to keep that going for as long as we can. Back in, just Vanguard?
Oh, just to add, Vanguard, what they're really doing just for us is, apart from distributing our beer mats, the beer mats, and they're going to be distributing the magazine to pubs around the country. The magazine is happening. It is still there. It's almost finished. Trust me. I'm just waiting for certain people to get back to me with some artwork and the odd article. So it should be ready before September, and it'll be available at the September Fest or the September Beer Festival. So cool.
Back in January, Ruben and I met with representatives of a UK company called JD Weatherspoon, and again we set out our stall with regard. They work very closely with camera in the UK. So when they came here, they realised that they should be working very closely with us. So we set out our stall. We said what we expect of them if they want to use our logo. We gave them the rules on that, and basically you must have Irish craft beer in stock for us to be affiliated with you, for you to use our name. And they have the 8 Degrees bottles permanently in stock in the pub when they opened it, so we're content that they meet our criteria on a very basic level. We've heard that, I haven't actually been out yet, but they have trouble, or they've had trouble on cask. So, and I think they have brew. They may possibly be looking at having brew as a permanent cask option. So that's all good. We'll encourage that. If there's
Andrew, that's your local. Anything?
No,
Said?
you're right.
Yeah.
They've got trouble, they've got brew, and they've got 8 Degrees, for example.
So I mean, we'll monitor that. If it happens that they no longer meet our criteria, then we can just get on to them. We have contacts, and we can say this isn't cool. And we also have our own publicity machine to say that this isn't cool. And it very well happened because they're flying the cask mark flag on their menus and on their pub, which they really shouldn't be doing. And I understand the cask mark people are not particularly happy with the management of the 3 Ton Tavern, because you can't do that until you're serving to the public and an inspector has been out. So I know we're very aware that they're only in it just to make money and to make themselves look good. So we'll do our best to keep them on side.
Just to add quickly to that, I have been in contact with Castmark and did sort of spill beans on that. They'd already heard that from somebody else. But they are looking at getting an Irish presence over here, because the cask scene is starting to build up to the level where there really should be somebody coming over to take a look. So I'm certainly contacting breweries around the country, finding out who would be interested perhaps in being an inspector, and I'll just pass those details on to them that they can.
So anybody wants to be a cask beer inspector,
Yeah.
I think you can get a t-shirt.
Do we know what the criteria are for cask mark?
Yeah, it's published on their site. It's temperature and clarity and stuff like
So
that.
they don't have the camera thing of no cask breather or...
No, they don't.
No,
Well,
they
no,
don't.
they don't, as far as I know. But it is, I'm fairly sure it's on their site. Yeah, we had the pre-budget submission, which we submitted a little bit late, but it was good. We got a good bit of publicity. We had an article in the Sunday Business Post, as Andrew mentioned, and Ruben's already spoken about what we had in that. There was also a consultation from the Food Safety Authority on labelling during the year, and we were the only consumer organisation at all in anything to make a submission to that. What we wanted was mandatory ingredients listing, basically an end to the exemption that for some reason alcohol does not have to list the ingredients on its labels, and we asked...
we know the reason.
we suspect the reason, but not that it's a good reason. And the other thing that we asked for was an end to brewed in the EU as an acceptable legal statement of provenance on labels, because it is more misleading than it is helpful. It's a semantic loophole, and we're recommending that they close that. So it was great to have that opportunity to bring that to the state authority, because the Food Safety Authority have an awful lot to worry about other than beer labelling. So having this opportunity to actually have our views heard and listened to was good. We haven't yet heard back from what they're doing.
No, all we got was sort of a receipt that they've had it, they've read it, and they're submitting it to whoever. So.
Also on documentation, we now have a formal document on brand usage guidelines, which was put together by our incoming PRO, Ian. So it's a very, very good, it's a standard technical document about what our brand is for. You may use it, but these are the conditions under which you may use it. And it's, it really formalizes it very succinctly and very fairly, and it's a great document, and it's great to have and we've already given it out to a couple of people who are interested in being Beoir affiliated. And that's good to have that in black and white and maroon. We have a magazine forthcoming, as Ruben has spoken about. We have new beer mats on the way. We ordered 50,000 beer mats, I think. Thanks to, which is a lot of beer mats. They were delivered, I believe, in June to Vanguard, who are distributing them, so they should be showing up around now. I haven't seen any yet myself.
They've been at the Beer Bloggers Conference.
Oh, they're at the beer. Okay, well, there you go. So look out for the beer mats. Let us know on the forum where you see the beer mats, because it'll be interesting to trace that.
They did unfortunately end up being exactly the same as last year's, though, not the slightly new version.
Still good. And the last thing you'll be pleased to hear that we did was the EBCU voting machine. So we're a member of the European Beer Consumers Union. They set up this grand scheme to poll every candidate in the European elections on 5 questions to do with beer and drinkers' rights. So we did our duty by that. We sent emails to every candidate that we could get contact details for. I think we got 3 responses, which is more than I thought we would get. And there you go. It was a thing. It was on the front page. We got a bit of publicity from that. But the main thing is that we did our duty, and we certainly, it was an opportunity. Most importantly, it was an opportunity to be in the to bring ourselves to the attention of the candidates, just to say that we're here. We're another NGO. We're another lobby group, and just to put ourselves on their radar. So that's it by way of the campaign update. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add about activities or anything? No.
Was that thank you or thank God?
Take your pick. So we have 2 new officers. One, as we know, is replacing Andrew as Public Relations Officer. That's Ian Bergen. So I think we're going to expect some great things from Ian.
Yeah.
Ian actually does have...
Yeah, well, actually, we got statements. I asked both of the new officers, because neither of them were able to attend, and they both would like to have been here, but were not able to. So I have a statement from Wayne. Do you want me to read that?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So this actually covers both his incoming role and his role as regional officer for the Midlands. And it is from Wayne Dunn, who is the new membership officer. It is my intention as membership officer to serve the needs of existing members while increasing the visibility of Beoir with regards to the recruitment of new members. It is one of my aims to have membership sign-ups at events, especially those where Beoir members are volunteering. Over the coming months, I will be engaging with the existing regional reps to come up with ideas on how they can increase membership in their localities and spread the offers out so that they aren't all Dublin focused. I want to delegate out the membership sign-up, and I'm in the process of designing a 1-page paper sign-up option. While this is a new role within the organisation, and as such there will be a certain amount of trial and error, but it can only work if there is true, meaningful dialogue between all parties, and together we grow our community and as such our relevance. You can contact me via email at membership@beoir.org or through my Twitter account, which is @IrishBeerSnob. And lastly, my mobile is available if you want to speak to me, 086 0266 225. I will talk to Wayne about how much of his contact details he wants out on the site, but suffice to say, you'll be able to get hold of Wayne if you need to get hold of Wayne. And he also submitted a report as regional officer for the Midlands. I took on the regional rep role very shortly after joining, and have found it difficult to find the time to conduct the proper research I wanted to do. It's my intention to do a stock take of pubs in the main urban areas in Meath and beyond to find out what craft beer they have, Irish or otherwise. However, I've had a fair amount of success. I've established a very strong relationship with Brewery from Trim and Dan Kelly's from Drogheda through meeting regularly. I've helped a number of pubs and off-licenses locally with their range, pointing them in direction of various suppliers, and referred a number of potential leads to Vanguard for conversion. All in all, there are now more pubs listed in the Meath section of the Beoir Finder. For Beoir members, I've arranged a 10% discount on Irish craft beer in the Winehouse off-licence in Trim. I've also enhanced the relationship with the Central, where they are offering tickets to Beoir members for their upcoming craft beer festival for €15 as opposed to the standard price of €20. And I will also be doing a craft beer for noobs session as part of their beer festival events, which last for the week in the run-up to the 16th of August. So that's Wayne's report. And I also have a report from Ian. Ian, being a podcaster, has obviously sent me an MP3. which I will now attempt to play. This is unprecedented, but let's give it a go.
Good afternoon to you all. Firstly,
Is
let
that
me
all?
preface this with an apology for not being present there with you today. This is due to circumstances outside my control relating to my work, which is unavoidable and it requires my presence in Dublin. You know, for those who don't know me, my name is Ian Bergen. I live in Kildare, I'm a 30-something, and I run Ireland's first craft beer podcast, 11pm Somewhere. And I've been heavily involved in the Irish web and tech space since 1996. Like many of you, I'm a passionate supporter of craft beer and in the pursuit of spreading that passion to as many people as possible to let them know that as consumers, they deserve better. That we should not accept the global conglomerate's definition of beer to be the summation and limit of what our enjoyment of good beer to be, or to be denied that enjoyment. Everyone deserves to have amazing beer without exception. Beoir is an organisation that has grown from humble beginnings. It has a stalwart court of members and those who become central to its guidance. Yeah, it has its detractors, it has those who believe it to be nothing more than a group of free beer moochers and beardy sandal types. And hey, sure, some of us have beards, some of us love sandals. But we are a group who are passionate about great beer, and we are more than beards. In fact, I find that definition offensive to our many female members, who too often in this picture are forgotten and overlooked. Women like craft beer too, and our female members, they equally love great beer and care about being able to access the choice of great beer. Our membership's diversity is matched in our craft beer and cider industries. Our native industries have taken the same path as the Irish craft beer and cider industry and market grows. We do too. And as we grow, we evolve to more new voices, more new opinions, more new ideas to reach out to more people to share our great passion and our experiences with. You know, this year Beoir has taken on 2 new additions to the leadership in Wayne Dunn as the membership officer and I as the incoming PRO. And you know, firstly, I've got to pay tribute to the efforts of my predecessor Andrew, whose work was tireless and done upholding Beoir's core values, representing the craft beer consumers of our membership and those the organisation has sought to reach. His work with those who've held officer roles previously has put the organisation in the position that it is in today, ready to take on the next series of challenges as the Irish craft beer revolution takes effect. You know, with growth comes a change, and a change in how the organisation has got to comport itself. You know, instead of championing the underdog from a grassroots position, it's got to learn to segue in a position of leadership as more people come to craft beer. As leaders, Beoir have a responsibility to bring those that follow with them and to learn to bring more people to Beoir from many more walks of life, points of view and understanding in the continued spirit of the egalitarianism and camaraderie it has championed thus far. You know, as leaders, we'll bring those with us, not out of some sense of obligation, but out of trust, responsibility, with clear communication and a consistency of delivery. This will be key to how our new membership officer will not only have to engage and re-engage with our current membership, but attract new members. In fact, I see my role as working very closely with him to achieve this as an organisation, which will also be to support his endeavours in the delivery of our message, our values, and of course our value to our members. You know, from the outset, I've had an awful lot to live up to. You know, before I took the office, I took the conscious decision to start with the same kind of gusto as Andrew and created our first image rights charter to protect the usage of our brand when it's used in agreement, like with Beoir when we get said to Wetherspoons, hey, it's okay to use our logo. You know, this is crucial in allowing Beoir to manage how it's portrayed by others and who exactly we allow to use our likenesses through terms and conditions that they must agree to prior to usage. I've also instituted a permanent mailbox for the public relations officer, which, you know, at the end of each term, if there's another officer, it can be transferred to them and any subsequent PROs with full visibility of all previous emails, and that'll happen from this term onwards. This was done to ensure that the full history of what's gone before can be adequately captured to help any successors. You know, it's my intention that during this term, other initiatives I'd like to carry out, such as, you know, getting Beoir listed on media outlet expert panel lists with respect to craft beer consumerism, establishing Beoir as a point of expertise and a grounds truth logic with the Irish press and media, which currently we're not, Creating a database of standard responses to common press commentary around beer, craft ciders, to allow the fast rollout of any press release responses. Creating a press repository of past press releases. Creating a standard press pack to accompany all press releases. And as a new officer in this organisation, to develop existing relationships with PROs in organisations such as Camera UK, Beer Ireland, ECBU, and to build relationships with other similar organisations in foreign markets where they have craft beer producers who contribute to the Irish craft beer scene with their produce. And that will allow Beoir to access experience and expertise to grow its own core mission and objectives in the coming year and in years to come. As someone who believes in the wisdom of crowds, I welcome the input of our membership in the execution of this role. I can be contacted at the PRO email address, which is just simple. It's pro@beoir.org. I firmly believe in the construct of feedback, so please feel free to send any feedback on any of the work that I do as Beoir PRO and during the course of the term with any suggestions you might have or feedback. Beoir as an organisation is only as good as the membership allows it to be. And your input, that's right, your input is vital to ensure that we're able to continue to steer the course in your representation. I'm going to finish this address by encouraging you to be vocal in how you want your Beoir to be. How you want your Beoir to represent you. How you want your Beoir to benefit you and other craft beer consumers on our island. Folks, Beoir is what we make it. Together, we'll make it great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
That's it from the new officers.
We'll have a chat about side updates. Your work is never done. You can't escape.
Well, there's not really much to say about the site since we did the. Something you did, if I remember right. No, since we migrated the site to the new host and we updated Joomla, PHPBB, which is our forum software and everything, it pretty much has, it's stayed very, very stable, which, as somebody who looks after websites, is something that I sort of look for on a daily basis. Is there really anything that we're going to be moving on?
Well, I mean, the subscription engine that we use at the moment that I brought in a year ago works, and it doesn't. It's been abandoned by the person who writes it. So we're kind of stuck with what we have at the moment unless we move to something else. It does work, but it requires some tender loving care, I suppose, is the
Okay, then we've got to get on top of that, and we've got to look for an alternative.
Yeah, one of the quirks that it did was coming up to renewal, it started sending out renewal emails, which is fine. But what happened was some people started clicking on the link and were trying to renew before their time was up, which meant that they were in the 5-year subscription. It really just wasn't designed for a 2-level subscription. So now we don't have that anymore. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Some people who were signed up for the €5 membership, their renewal when it came back up, the link was sent out to try and renew to €5 again, which is now abandoned. So some people had some issues with that, but there wasn't that many because most people join up for the €10 rather than 5. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll get on top of that. The only other thing, and probably only of interest to myself, yourself, Ruben, and Barry, is I've set up a test site now that it actually is a complete duplicate of the Beoir site, but it means that when we're going to
break things.
Yeah, precisely. We can break it, and you guys won't notice. So really, does anybody have any questions about the site?
It's not specifically about the site, but it's more for me that the website is crucial. It's where I find out about new beers, new breweries, everything. And I know social media is in some respects superseded the use of conventional websites. Can we have a recommendation that people who are very linked in take it as a point of course to immediately put stuff on the Beoir website? I don't really use Twitter, I don't really use Facebook. Yeah. And for me, where I want information is on the Beoir site. So I know in some respects, people are LinkedIn or hyperlinked in with each other, and they're like, it's happening here, happening there. We mightn't find out about it until 2 or 3 months later. So could particularly for the officers, get new information, stick it on the Beoir site. That's where I want to see it. That's where I
One
want to see
simple
it.
thing we can do to address that is to allow any Facebook and Twitter updates to be put immediately on the front page.
That'd be great.
Very, very simple to do that.
I'll be honest, where I have it hyperlinked at home and work is in the forum. That's where. No, don't say it for work. Don't minute that. But that's where I've got it bookmarked.
No, I would certainly try to do that as much as possible, but you just forget, you're.
No, it's not a criticism. It's more a suggestion for the membership as ourselves. When we find something out, our first protocol should be the
Keep
forum.
everybody in the loop.
Yeah,
No, absolutely agree.
In general, we have two kind of ways to contact if you have any suggestions or criticisms about anything that's not working or it should work better. We have on the forum. We have a site. What's the term? Site update or site? There's a site page on the so you can address issues on the forum. We also have our email address admin@beoir.org. So any questions or feedback, just send it on to us.
And that goes that admin address that goes to all of us and Wayne and Ian, and I think Barry, possibly Shane as well.
Me as well.
So somebody will deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you never know.
Just
allowed to leave.
Just a note for the minutes. That's not a criticism. I suppose it's more for all of us because there's at least 2 or 3 things I've missed. I've seen and I've not put up because I assumed everyone else knew about. Brehan been a really good example that it was out there and just kind of going. It should have been put up.
Is there some kind of thing we could do where maybe we could quarterly do like a digest of news of what's happened in the last quarter?
We do
We have a
that.
volunteer.
We have an e-newsletter that should be going out every quarter. Sometimes it goes out a couple of times a quarter if there's something important going on. But I take it you're having problems with that. Yes, that's it. Yes.
But
Really appreciate the
Yeah,
newsletter.
it's excellent.
But a quarterly front page article on recent events would be a great idea. But I'll hold up the standard Beoir sign and say, if you want to see this, do it.
It's just a notion that I was riffing.
But on the front page, anybody who has anything to say, any articles that they want to write, you don't have to do anything important. Just write the text. We'll do the formatting and stick it on the front page. So, I mean, there's always something that somebody goes to that nobody else did. You may have gone to a small beer festival in the part of the west of the country, and nobody else went to it, but you might have something to say about it. So, send on an email with just some text, and we'll stick it up there.
Okay, any more questions about the website or? Right.
Just on the membership.
Yeah.
I think I had a renewing PayPal membership. Is that still active, or because I still got an email to say I should renew, and I did, and then.
Yeah. Basically, and it's something that we'll have a conversation about next year. Is that anyway? When you join Beoir through the site, it sets up a standing order, and then what it seems to have been doing is emailing people saying you need to renew, and then sets up a new standing order. I think I'm on top of it. I mean, the bottom line is everything is refundable. If it takes a tenner from you that it shouldn't, I will immediately refund that back because I get emails from PayPal. I think I have it set up. I've been monitoring it this year, and anyone who has set up a new standing order from this year, I've absolutely made sure that I've gone back into the recurrent payments database and cancelled any previous one that they have had. So that shouldn't happen. Any questions about anything to do with that, just contact me.
I think that we've changed the subscription so that it's no longer July to July.
Yeah.
That will make
It
a
should.
difference.
We'll probably have another year of awkwardness, but it should get better as we go forward.
Okay then.
That's it, by the way. Sorry. But the next thing's AOB, which is any questions about anything else that you might have. Anything else that anyone would like to
Any
raise?
other business?
Is there any update on the EBCU conference?
The EBCU, yeah, the EBCU, the European Beer Consumers Union, which is an umbrella organisation for, I think it's 12 or 13 European. 13, okay. Some of them are a bit dodgy. They're technically members, but they don't actually do anything. But their check just about clears, so they're still in. And I use the word check meaningfully. But yeah, we've been a member of their organisation since 2012, and we are hosting the next meeting. They meet twice a year, and they're meeting in Dublin in the middle of November this year. So the Porterhouse, it's a 2-day meeting, and generally what I want to do is divide it amongst the Irish craft brewers as much as we possibly can in Dublin. So the Porterhouse has very kindly agreed to host the Friday meeting in Lily's, and there'll be a brewery tour in the afternoon of the Friday. The Porterhouse are arranging that. I would like for the Porterhouse, or like for the brewery tour to be open to all Beoir members who are available. So it'll depend on if we can get the Porterhouse to supply a bus big enough for everyone who wants to go. I'm sure otherwise they'd be fine with people just showing up to the brewery, but I'll make those arrangements closer to the time. Before that, there'll be a social meeting on the Thursday evening, which is when all of the delegates arrive in, and that's usually a free-for-all. So I'll probably book space in the Norseman for that. So if you want to come along and meet beer geeks from other countries, you can do that, and we'll be inviting the press for that, and hopefully we'll get a bit of journalism coverage from it. Then the Saturday, I would like to bring everyone to JW Sweetman's, and I'm currently in negotiations with them about why they don't have suitable meeting space, so we'll probably just have the business meeting in a hotel on the Saturday, and then go to Sweetman's for lunch and the brewery tour. So again, that will be open to everyone once I have those arrangements made. I'll post to the forum and get numbers and do the usual list thing and see how that's going to go. But that's pretty much it. I'll do a booklet for delegates. I'll throw all this will be going on the forum beforehand, but I'll do a booklet for delegates with good pub recommendations and so on, where a lot of delegates I've been speaking to have been very interested. There's been a huge enthusiasm for coming to Dublin, and particularly around music, about where you go for good music. So it'll be good pubs with good music and good Irish craft beer. We're looking for recommendations for those. I know a few will be travelling around, so recommendations outside of Dublin as well, but that'll all be sorted out before it goes to the time.
Any other questions or comments? So I see precious drinking time as being conserved, so it goes with the time. I suppose it's just it's finished then. Just thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks, Seamus.
Yeah, thanks. Well, Seamus for Seamus is well. You can't thank. What can you say about Seamus? You just can't thank him enough. Not only is he thankfully hosting us here today, he was also a big part of getting the Beer Bloggers Conference up and running. I suppose most of you have at least heard of what that was. I brought the Beer Bloggers Conference, which is beer writers from all over the world, mostly Europe, but all over the world really. There's some from South America and Australia and the US over as well. The big thing was really to showcase Irish beer, because they don't really get it outside of Ireland. Even though Carlow and Porterhouse export, for the most part, they don't really know where it is. They don't know that Irish beer even exists other than Guinness, and so it was great to have them come over here and just be absolutely blown away by everybody who showed up. All of the Irish breweries showed up and just completely blew them away. I think in particular they were very impressed with the Foam and Fury. There was people comparing it not like for like with Pliny the Elder, but on that kind of level playing field. They were absolutely blown away by a lot of the Carlow beers, especially the barrel aged Lanfalon, big firm favourite of mine. But pretty much everybody who showed up, even Coulon's down there, isn't he? So yeah, White Gypsy. They were. I think it was. What was the one that they really liked? It wasn't King Coulon. It was King Cormac. King Cormac. Yeah. All the breweries that were there. Coulon, White Gypsy wasn't at the conference itself, but on the Thursday pub crawl, which we had a record number for all of the pub crawls we had for the last 4 years. There was usually around about 20 people on it. We were close to 40, almost double this year for the pub crawl, and everywhere we went, everybody was blown away by the Irish scene. So, anyway, getting back to Seamus, big thank you for Seamus, because without Seamus and the Carlo Brewing Company, that wouldn't have happened. Without the Carlo Brewing Company, we wouldn't be in this building today. So, yeah, could we maybe get a round of applause for that? Yes, Brent.
Another round of applause for Seamus and Kilkenny, and maybe Porterhouse as well. who really started it all when, I mean, you took a huge gamble. You were involved from the start as well, aren't you? So, seriously, because without the original of the species,
Yeah.
A motion of confidence in the Irish beer, craft beer industry.
another round of applause.
Another round of applause. And while we're at it, perhaps another round as well. Yeah, we're done.
Okay, just by way of housekeeping, we are invited to Billy Burns for 5 p.m. and they're feeding us. So I suppose if we leave here at 4:30, if that's okay by everyone? Okay. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody. Thank you.